Hey guys, Kiwi here. In this video, I'll be breaking down and discussing the Season 6 premiere for Better Call Saul, giving it a full review and recap. Like the video if you end up enjoying it, subscribe to the channel, and follow me on Twitter for more Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad updates, and if you really enjoy what I do here, consider checking out my Patreon to help support the channel financially. With that being said, let's jump into the breakdown. I found it best to break up the two sides of the show into two separate categories, so let's start with the cartel side of things first, and we'll move on to Jimmy and Kim in a little bit. Season 6 Episode 1 is really just Season 5 Part 2, and I couldn't be happier. We pick up right where Season 5 ended to tie up all loose ends. This is probably why we got a double premiere, in order to feel like the plot is still moving forward into the true Season 6, and not just finishing up Season 5. So Nacho escapes Lalo's compound all by himself, but you gotta wonder, why didn't Gus specifically task one of the hitmen with the goal of securing Nacho and bringing him to safety? Anyways, Nacho makes his way to Motel Octillo, I know I'm pronouncing that wrong, where Gus and Tyrus set him up to wait. Meanwhile, Lalo kills and plants his body double at the compound for the Salamanca twins to find, and they believe it's him. Gus gets told by Bolsa that Lalo's dead, but that all of his hitmen are dead too, which he finds very suspicious. Bolsa also says that Don Eladio put out a hit on Nacho for being a rat, and that he has both the cartel and the Mexican police searching for him. Bolsa then tells Gus to be careful, as everyone is a suspect at this point. Since Bolsa tried helping Gus with Lalo last season, I believe that Bolsa is smart enough to realize that this was Gus's doing. Because Bolsa is kinda stupid, even though he likes to believe he's smart, but I do think that that's something that he's figured out. Mike offers multiple times to go retrieve Nacho and bring him back across the border quietly and safety, but Gus has other plans. Nacho tries calling Mike, but Mike won't answer, which is hard for Mike to do. I assume that Gus told Mike his true plans and that Mike isn't allowed contact with Nacho. Hector tells Lalo that he needs proof it was Gus who ordered the hit, and Lalo says that he knows where to get it, changing his mind on coming across the border. And I love the Breaking Bad Easter egg here with the hay bale truck, which is the same truck that the Salamanca twins set on fire when they first came across the border in Breaking Bad. Well, it's meant to be the same truck canonically, but the creators of the show actually had to remake this hay bale truck for the Season 6. But yeah, that's kind of it for the cartel side of the show. I have a few other videos that I did throughout the week, breaking down specific situations more in depth, and I'll link them at the end of the video, but with that being said, let's move on to the Jimmy and Kim side of the episode. The episode starts out with a Breaking Bad flash forward to Saul Goodman's house right after Walt dies and Saul goes into hiding. We have who I assume are the feds cleaning up his house and either throwing everything out or confiscating it for evidence. I already did a full video breakdown on this flash forward, which I'll link at the end of the video and on screen, but I will mention a few new things I've learned since then. First, when the ties are being thrown into the trash at the beginning, it's not editing here with the color. The first few ties are actually just black and white ties, giving a really nice effect in regards to the Gene fake out with the colored ties coming in afterwards. Also, they were apparently going to film this at the house that Kim and Jimmy looked at in Season 5, implying that Jimmy did eventually buy that house. But before filming, they realized that filming at that same Season 5 house was too restricted, so they instead found a new house, which we see here. They also never intended on doing the Saul Goodman cutout until they saw the pool at the new house, so it all came together. The Trump toilet, along with some other parts of the building, were created by the set department. The creators also hired dance choreographers in order to accurately time the people walking through the house with the correct items as the camera pans around. Also, Kim's bottle stopper that drops out of the shelf being pulled into the truck at the end is apparently completely CGI, which is just absolutely wild. The bottle stopper is apparently a rare prop that's difficult to replicate, so besides the worry of breaking it, they also found it difficult to correctly predict where it would fall on the ground in order for the camera to zoom in on it. So they instead just zoomed in on the curb, with nothing there, and then they added the bottle stopper in CGI with editing. And also, apparently one of the paintings that's in Saul Goodman's house is a painting that was in either Kim's apartment or Kim's work office. And there's even people trying to decode that book that we saw in the subreddit. Apparently it's an address book, but I don't know. One of the things that the creators of the show mentioned is that not only does Saul Goodman's house have a bunch of Easter eggs to previous seasons, but it has pre-Easter eggs, as they call them, to future episodes in Season 6. So once we see more of Season 6, we'll be able to come back to this scene and notice more little details. But meanwhile, back in the current timeline, Jimmy and Kim's side of the episode starts out in the morning after the Season 5 finale, with them laying in the bed of the hotel that they stayed at. Jimmy lies awake, staring at the ceiling, still in denial on how much Kim is Breaking Bad, bad, pun intended. Kim tells Jimmy her pro bono client's plans for the day, and Jimmy says that he has a huge day as well. They go back to Kim's apartment to get ready for the day, where Kim ends up throwing out Jimmy's second best lawyer mug, implying that if it's out of sight, it's out of mind. Kim is quick to want to forget the events at the end of season 5, but Jimmy is still very clearly affected by this. Jimmy lets Kim borrow a suit for her clients, and it's the same brown suit that Jimmy wore in the first 2 episodes of Better Call Saul back in season 1. Jimmy says that he hopes the suit brings her client better luck than it brought him, since when Jimmy was wearing it, his Kettleman scam went wrong with the skateboarders accidentally jumping into Tuco's Abuelita's car instead, resulting in Saul getting kidnapped and drug out into the desert. At the courthouse, Kim asks Jimmy if he's good, to which he lies, saying that he is. This is where Jimmy slips up saying Lalo's real name to the detectives interested in his disappearance, showing that Jimmy isn't good at all. The detectives only know Lalo as his alias Jorge de Guzman, so Jimmy calling him Lalo is a big deal, and I assume they'll have consequences as the season continues. I love how they're acknowledging the fact that Lalo paid $7 million for bail for a murder charge just to disappear, as that isn't something that'd go unnoticed in the real world either. There has to be consequences for it. We also mentioned this leading up to season 6, saying that if Lalo did come across the border that he'd have to hide from the police due to this. Later that night, Jimmy and Kim meet at the El Camino diner, where Jimmy spots Kim talking to the same clients that they lent Jimmy's suit to. Jimmy compliments the client wearing the suit as he walks out. Kim explains that her client is being blamed for a robbery that his friend did, and since the friend's family is wealthy and he's not, he's getting in trouble for it. She recaps the rest of her day to him, and he doesn't mention that he slipped up saying Lalo's real name. Jimmy mentions that he rented them a vehicle, and Kim low-key makes fun of it, saying that Saul Goodman should drive something with a little more flair. She also suggests them having a Cathedral of Justice as an office, and it's wild how much Kim is truly inspiring the Saul Goodman that we know from Breaking Bad. They also start planning their cons against Howard, although Jimmy's a bit reluctant. I discussed sabotaging Howard in a separate video that I'll link on screen and at the end of the video. The rest of the Jimmy and Kim side of the story involves their plan to plant fake drugs in Howard's locker for Cliff to see, in order to plant the first seed that Howard is secretly a drug addict. I also love the Kevin cameo, along with the great job that the manager at the clubhouse did. Apparently he's a fairly well-known actor. I really enjoyed this episode, but the fact that both of the first 2 episodes for season 6 aired at the same time really helps its case, because this episode does end off with me wanting more, and I'm surprised that more doesn't happen in it when actually separating the 2 episodes and looking at it. It perfectly concludes all the season 5 cliffhangers, and it starts dabbling into season 6 territory, but we don't really get that far. Episode 601 gets an A tier. I think I'm gonna rank each episode in a tier list at the end of these reviews, and then once the first 7 episodes have aired, I'll do a season 6 part 1 full tier list. The same will be done for season 6 part 2. I also did a season 1 tier list for Better Call Saul, and I'll be uploading a season 2 tier list once I fix some copyright issues. Thanks YouTube, so keep an eye out for that. I'd appreciate a like on the video if you've enjoyed anything that I've said today, and if you're new to the channel or just haven't yet already, subscribe and hit the bell notification to stay updated on when I post new content on Better Call Saul and Breaking Bad. I thank you all so much for watching, thanks for all the support, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Peace out.